So we've been through our program, our Tribal McV, our home visiting program. There have been a lot of efforts to mobilize and communicate about evaluation efforts through a number of not coalitions, but groups. We are collectively coming together to learn from each other around evaluation that is happening within tribal communities, specifically around early childhood programs, home visiting, Head Start. And so that's something that's really exciting, because I think a lot of growth happens when we're communicating about that with each other and learning from each other. So it's university partners as well, university, federal, and tribal partners that come together around that work that they're doing. So the Tribal Research Collaborative is one group that has come together, and we've really learned a lot from our partners in that research collaborative. Evaluation efforts that are happening, for example, within Head Start and Early Head Start, there's a lot of data collection and a lot of information gathering that happens at that level that can contribute to what we're doing within our tribal home visiting program. And the connections that we have allows us to assess the needs of the families that we serve through tribal home visiting. So those connections that are happening through that evaluation are strengthening both our program and their program in terms of knowing what services we can provide and where we have to improve, and areas that we can strengthen or target together. Yeah, I've seen growth in that area. I think it depends on the community, and it depends on the level of awareness around that within the community. I've seen some tribal communities start to develop the need for their own IRB, which is really interesting and really important, I think, and empowering for them, because not every tribal community has that, but they are creating also offices within their organization that are making sure that they're gathering all of this evaluation data that all of the programs are collecting. So it's in one place, and the community and administration are aware of the evaluation efforts that are going on. But again, it depends on the community, and it depends on where they're at with prioritizing that. I think sometimes when one tribal community hears that another tribal community is putting a focus on that, I think it supports the development of that for that tribal community that might not be as far along as another tribal community in planning and organizing their evaluation efforts. Sometimes an external evaluator is a requirement of a project, and so that can be a barrier if you have to have an external evaluator. However, there are more external evaluators now that have experience working within tribal communities and understand the approval process and the development process and inclusion of the community in those evaluations. I'm trying to think, I can't think of any examples where a tribe has like an evaluator within their community, other than at the Intertribal Council of Michigan level, where I'm an evaluator. That's sort of, I don't know if I labeled myself an internal evaluator or not, but I serve as an evaluator, and then we also work with another organization. It seems to be a really helpful and useful partnership when there's a requirement also for an external evaluator, but also when I need help with technical aspects of evaluation that I might not have, experience working with, like specific program design or analysis of certain data, or analysis for specific evaluation design. So where I have strengths, we're able to utilize them, and my connection to community and maybe some knowledge of working within our community. And then I'm also able to rely on our evaluation partner for areas that I need help with. And that's been very useful. I think it's so important. I think that we're just, especially for federal programs where we have to fit what we want to do as far as evaluation into something that can be very different. We have to fit like a puzzle piece our evaluation into our federal programs. And like I mentioned, it helps when they prioritize what we feel is important to us. It really helps. But I think we're starting to go there in terms of Indigenous knowledge and our Indigenous way of life, and it's how it can support evaluation and add to evaluation and make meaningful evaluation for tribal communities. I think our language and our way of life, I think we're just starting to understand how important that is, and important to include those perspectives in evaluation. We have a lot of problems when there are certain assessments that we have to utilize for evaluating aspects of our program that aren't necessarily tested or developed for tribal communities. And I think that a lot of work needs to be done in that area. And I think if we relied on our language and our way of life in developing those assessments, we would have a better understanding of what's happening within our communities and in answering evaluation questions.